And we're back. Week 1 in the books. The draft's in the books. We're moving on to week 2, but we got a lot to talk about from the past 2 weeks. We got the draft in the week 1, some trades. We got some awesome standout performances. So we got to get to all that. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, the VFW of Ohio Charities. If you'd like to know what they do in your community and what you can do to help them, go to vfwohiocharities.com and find out a little bit more. I also want to give a huge shout out to Grumpy Dave's, that guy right there. We got a new place to film our show in, so I hope everybody enjoys watching it here. And now it's going to be released every Friday at 5. I know you've seen it on Instagram a little bit. We just posted it last night, but yeah, be ready now. Fridays at 5, we're going to release them. Well, let's get into it. The draft. We had, to start off, a pretty big trade, and that included the 419ers and the Liberty. They traded their first 2 picks with each other, and in order, so Jalen could get Joshua Williams, who he picked up first overall. Now, Jalen and Josh, they are coming together after Jalen had the opportunity to pick him up in the draft and passed on him. This was in season 2, I believe. It was season 2. And passed up on him. He wanted to play against him a little bit. Wanted the competition. But Jalen and Josh go way back and way before the LBL. They love playing against each other. They love to compete against each other. But I think this time they were just so excited, especially after Josh's absence in season 3, 4, and 5. Since Josh is coming back, I think they really wanted to play with each other, and they got it done. Kind of a questionable trade by Matt Ayers. Really wasn't sure what he was going for there. I understand because it was a snake draft, he got an earlier pick in the second round, but if it were me, I would have picked Josh myself. I thought he was the best player in the draft, and it's hard to put up that. But Josh, a little bit about him. He was the season 1 MVP, and he was the season 1 and 2 champ. He also owns the record for points in a game at 49. He got that against the Wombats. Wombats is now a franchise that's no longer in the LBL, but they were back in the day. So, I also want to talk about who I thought was a good sleeper in the draft. There was a few, but the one that stood out, especially in week 1, was Caden Blanco. He's from Otsego High School, just graduated, really cool guy, but he came out firing week 1, and it was either the last round or second to last round. I think the Kings got him in, and what a pickup. And he really showed out week 1. So really seeing what he can do in the rest of the season. But I think ultimately, because Jalen was able to pull off such a spectacular trade and pick up the best player in the draft in Joshua Williams, I think the Liberty ultimately do win the draft. But I'll touch on that again a little bit later when we talk about what happened week 1. There's some questions that's came about, and hopefully the Liberty can answer them. They got a lot of work to do. So to touch on some of the games, or to touch on the games week 1, or hold on a second. Yeah, touch on the games week 1 here. The Lions and the Pistons, they faced off, went into an overtime. The Lions ended up pulling off the victory, 88-82. Now there was four of the starting 5 for the Lions were in double digits, led by Jake Schmeltz, who has had a resurgence since his performance last in the championship and really throughout the whole playoffs. He was absent for most of the playoffs last season, and he really came out firing in week one. I think he has the point to prove. He definitely is one of the better players in the league, and he's got a chip. He's got a shoulder on his chip, and he kept both Fakoshes, and they both showed out. Jacob also had 25. But the key there, who they picked up in the draft to kind of help supplement that core that they got going together, is Ben. Ben Cameron. He put up 16 points. Really had a good game week one with the Lions. So Thurman also, he was picked second overall. And the thing with Thurman is, I think a lot of people underestimated what he brought to the table in the past seasons, and it really showed that people were starting to take notice when he got picked second overall. And he didn't disappoint. He had 4 3-pointers in the first half. He finished with 18 and 10. He really tried putting the team on his back. Ultimately, did fall a little short, but hey. We got the Vandals and the 419ers next. 66-79. Dylan Davis ended up having 28 and 10. Matt Ayers, what a game, finished with 28, 7 and 5. The Kings and the Wolves. The Kings fell short to the Wolves, 73-79. Like I said earlier, Caden Blanco, standout performance there with 25 points. Kind of came out of nowhere. Awesome job, Caden. Dylan Semler, what a game, making a statement as your first game as the GM. Man, you showed out. I'm excited for you this season. You got a squad. I'm excited to see what you put together. Michael Bennett, I think probably the best player in the league, finished the game with 22, 18, and 7. What a performance by Michael Bennett. I'm really excited to see him play. I think he's definitely going to finish amongst the top 2 or 3 runner-up for MVP. So we'll see where he lands at the end of the season. And Tyler Layton, he went, I think it was 5th. I think it was 5th overall. He ended up with 22, 6, and 5. Another big statement there by Tyler Layton. Then we had the Liberty and the Mustangs, who I had as the game of the week. Jalen had a pretty awesome game, 26, 11, and 7. Josh kind of fallen short, had 18 points, expecting a little bit more out of Josh, especially going number 1 overall. And I think he expected more of himself as well. So I think he's really excited to get out week 2 and show what he's learned in week 1. And I think all the Liberty really is after falling short to the Mustangs. Alec Gregg had 30 points, all of them coming from 3-point land except for 3 of them, which came from the free throw line. Man, what a performance there. He was the only rookie to be picked in the first round of the draft, and he proved his worth week 1. So I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the league or the rest of the season for the Mustangs. The Liberty, man, they got some picking up to do. I think they'll get it together. What's up? Break? All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thanks for holding on there. As I was saying, Liberty got a lot to work on. I think they see what they have to do. I do think still, to me, they are the favorites to go all the way. It's hard to beat a duo of Jalen and Josh. And I think once they figure it out, once they get to their game, they'll be fine. And it starts with really trying to pull Josh out of the post, bring him outside, and let him work his game more. I think the Liberty tried to put him down in the post a little too much, and it showed that he just needs to play his regular position. So and that's another thing where the Liberty kind of lack. They have a couple big guys. Their biggest guy probably Kurt Myers, but they just got to play their game. They can't really force the players that they have on their roster into positions they're not comfortable in. So I'm excited to see how they figure it out, but I'm sure they will. I have all the confidence in the world in both of them. Arguably the two best players in the league. So, they'll figure it out. But for the rest of the season, because he was picked up in the second overall, I think the player to watch this year is Thurman. He's going to have a lot of spectacular games, but I think a lot of the better teams, or a couple of the better teams, will be able to key in on him and really clamp down defensively and try to keep him out of the paint. What that guy does a lot, he'll grab a rebound, instantly look down the court for people running down, his teammates running down, and try to get those easy fast break points. So I think you got to put a hard body on him. Make sure he doesn't get too close under the basket, and definitely make sure he has a hand in his face when he's beyond that 3-point line. I'm telling you, that guy can shoot, and a lot of people don't expect it. But he is one of the best shooters in the league, and he's going to continue, as shown week 1, to perform beyond that 3-point line for the rest of the season. So keep your eye on Thurman. He's going to be an awesome player to watch. It's good to see the Lions are back at it. I had mentioned Jake Smeltz and how he had kind of had a rough postseason in Season 5. And so really did all the Lions did. They had the former MVP or last MVP of Season 5 MVP in Malik Osborne. He didn't really show up either. But they do have one of the better cores that have been kept together in the league in Faye Kosh's and Jake Smeltz. One of their core players, and Mike Flipsy, did end up being the GM of one of the other teams. So they had to replace him, and they replaced him with Benjamin Cameron. I think that's a great pickup, and adds a whole different dynamic to their team. So Ben Cameron finished with 16 and 11, and I think that's pretty much what you can expect out of Ben Cameron almost every week is a nice 15 and 10 game, and that's exactly what the Lions need. Need a big man to go down there and eat up those boards, get some points down the paint. So I'm excited to see the Lions are back at it. They're definitely looking like one of the most fierce teams in the league. And really, to be honest, it's pretty even out there. So when you're looking at all these teams and you're trying to rank them, it's pretty tough. And when I look at these teams, I give the edge to the teams that have that cohesiveness and the teams that have stayed together through these past seasons, the ones that have kind of kept that core. With Jalen and Josh being an exception, just because they've known each other for so long. They're brothers, and those two together, yeah, it's just phenomenal. It's going to be hard for anyone to beat them, especially in the postseason. The rookie to watch. I'm going to give you a rookie to watch, Alec Gregg. Now, like I said, put up a 30-piece. Amazing Week 1 performance. I said before he was the only rookie to be drafted in the first round. And at that draft, I noticed a little rivalry brewing between Tyler Layton and Alec Gregg. I think it's going to be fun to watch these two go at each other. I think they have a little bit of, I don't want to say hatred, but like a little bit of motivation to really go after each other this season. And I think what Alec was kind of salty about was in the draft, Tyler got picked before him. And you know, that's okay to be salty about. And I'm excited to see you prove why you should have been picked, you know, before Tyler. And I know Tyler's going to prove why he was better. So, and you both showed out week 1. So this is week 6 at 5:00. That's when you all show up, are going to play together or play against each other. I'm excited for that matchup. You should be too. Everyone out there should be excited for that matchup because these two are going to go at each other. Hopefully they guard each other because I'm excited to see how that game ends up. So tune in week 6 at 5:00 to watch that matchup. Another thing I want to touch on is some moves with the teams. I touched on one move that a team had on draft day, and that was the trades between the round 1 and 2 picks. But after week 1 games have ended, there was some more moves. There was a trade between the Wolves and the Vandals. The Wolves' Goose and Andy Burmeister get traded to the Vandals for Jake Schwiefert and Tyler Alt. So, honestly, I'm a little confused about this trade. I don't see how it helped either one. Goose had a pretty decent game. I think it was like 11 points, 11 rebounds. Jake honestly had a little bit of a disappointing game. You know, Jake's been a Vandal for. He actually started the franchise for the Vandals, so he stepped down as the Vandals GM so that he could go into the player pool this season. And he got, what do you know, drafted by the Vandals. So he started off with the Vandals, ended up going over to the Wolves. But I'm interested to see how this turns out. Again, I'm a little confused by it. Don't understand it. But, hey, I'm excited to see him play on their new teams. I'm excited to see Jake in a new uniform. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. Also, the 3rd overall pick, Darius Vincent, has been replaced by Malik Osborne. Malik is season 5 MVP, and he he looks to bring a whole new element to the 419ers. Now, there's a big difference between how I'm sure when Matt went to the draft board and he picked Darius, he had a vision for how his team was going to turn out. When you add someone like Malik and you take out Darius, the whole dynamic shifts. So I'm hoping that with this acquisition of an MVP, I hope it doesn't. I'm sure it won't hurt them, but I hope that Matt, being as good of a player as he is able to turn this team around, though they did get their first W, but kind of, help fix this team around Malik, which is going to be kind of difficult to do. So we'll see how good of a GM he is this season, for sure. And I'm excited to see what he does. So I also want to touch on a couple things going around in the LBL. Some news, some things I want to touch up on, let you guys in on. We are still doing internships. We've had a couple interns from BGSU, Owens. So if you have, we can offer, media internships, production internships. We live stream all of our games. We do this podcast here. Eventually, gonna be honest, I would hope somebody will take this seat from me and carry on record. I'm hoping that someone could take Jalen's seat and help produce this awesome show on record for the whole league. And that's the goal. Is to make you guys as involved as possible. So again, that can all stem from internships, and we are going to start looking for help around the LBL, and hiring some people. So if you want to help in game day preparations, in game day and what's going on, live streaming, helping film. Eventually, we want to get to the point to where we can step out of the LBL and focus on a second LBL league. And be there more. And so we're looking for people to maybe even step up and run the LBL league at Otsego. So if that's something you think you can do, if that's something that you're interested in, maybe not this season, but in the future seasons, we are definitely looking for somebody to hire to help us run the Otsego league. We are also looking for that next location. So if you have any ideas, I already had a couple people tell me about some awesome ideas. And we're definitely looking into those. Send me, a name of somebody I can get a hold of and a number, and what school or what gym that's in. You guys have my phone number. Most of you do. If you don't, ask around. Someone has it. Also, if you haven't yet played, if you didn't play week 1, you didn't show up for the draft, we haven't received your $65 yet, or your ID. That's all for the rookies, really. The ID's for the rookies. What the ID's for is the Otsego, who we rent the gym from. They want to know who's in their gym, So they've actually requested from us that we keep track of that, and we present that to the superintendent. So that's what that's for. We're not going to steal your identity or nothing. Don't worry about that. Another thing I want to touch on is the stats and the clock. Now, I noticed looking over the stats this last week, there was one game in particular that wasn't as accurate as I would have liked it to be. When you guys are taking stats, when you guys are doing clock, make sure to pay attention. Make sure you get the attempts, the blocks, the steals. All those are very important. All that helps this episode happen. All that helps, everything, really. Everyone loves looking at their stats after the game, and just make sure they're accurate, because you want the person taking your stats to be accurate as well. So, just take pride in, doing it, helping out the league, and, it really just betters everybody. So, also, we set it up a little differently this season. We're having the GMs, like I said, in charge of letting you guys know who's doing stats, who's doing clock on which game during the week. So please don't let the same people do it over and over again. Help out. This is part of a community. This is a community. The LBL is a awesome community, and it all starts with you guys. So please help out, get involved, meet new people, meet new friends. That's really one of the biggest parts of this league is bringing together people through basketball. So make some friends, get to know everybody, and that helps keeping with stats too. When you're keeping stats, you got to learn everybody's names. And if you don't know their name, go introduce yourself. I'm sure they don't know your name either then. So we'll move on to the last and final topic here. I just want to make some real quick, way too early predictions. So last season, we had the MVP, who was Malik Osborne. We had the champions, who were the Kings. Now we have a whole new look Kings, not even resembling anything close to the Kings in Season 5. And the defensive who was the defensive player? Was it TJ? It was TJ. TJ Pinnell. He's no longer with us either, but all right, yep. But this next season, Season 6, I think the MVP should be, and I think will be, Michael Bennett. This guy, he's special, man. What do you have? He had 22, 18, and 7. You know, this guy is a baller. I was expecting, honestly, a little more from him last season. He put up okay numbers. He was a little quieter. And I think as the GM this season, he's going to propel his game to a whole new level. He's going to really bring his teammates along with him, and he's got a stacked, roster really. So I'm really excited to see him play this season. The numbers he puts up are going to be crazy. They have to be. When no disrespect to everybody else out there, but when he's out on the floor, it's looking like he's a man amongst boys. Really, he is just physically dominant and gifted from God. That's for sure. And when he uses that gift of his physical attributes, man, it's something special to watch. So definitely, I think MVP is going to win the MVP, or Michael Bennett's going to win the MVP. I think the champion. I think I'm gonna try to hold to it. I know last season I was on the Vandals bandwagon, and I ended up switching up halfway through. But I think this season I'm gonna try to hold my feet to the fire here and stick with my pick. But I'm gonna go with the Liberty. When you have arguably the two best players in the league, you may not have to have a good surrounding cast, because those two are phenomenal, and when they get clicking, it's going to be hard to stop. So, Liberty are you going to be your Season 6 champions. Just watch. And the Defensive Player of the Year will go to Jalen.myers. Again, he's won one before. He's won two before, sorry. He's going to go for his third. And, yeah, that boy's a beast on the floor, man, defensively. I'm pretty sure it's one game, I don't know if you've seen, players do it, but where he just got so low and he had his hands on the ground, he was ready, man. So, and that's like the picture I think of when I think of Jalen on the court is really just his aggressive defensive mindset, and he'll probably end up being, if not first in the league in blocks, second, or he has to be at least he'll probably be second. The dude's a block machine. Those long, lanky, skinny freaking arms he has. So those are my Season 6 way too early predictions. And I think that's all I got for you this week. I know next week I expect to have my Season 6 MVP, Michael Bennett, on the show. So I'm excited to have you on, Michael. I'm looking forward to that. If you want to be a guest on record, like I said, most of you have my number. Get a hold of me. Let me know, and then we can fit you in somewhere. Sometimes if I have a lot to talk about, like today, I'm going, I'd like to just, be myself. That way I can get through everything. But, next week I'm excited to have Michael on. And if you want to be on too, let me know. Don't forget that we are now shooting this at Grumpy Dave's. So come check us out at Grumpy Dave's. It's a pretty cool spot. I work downstairs at Easy Street. And on the weekends, Grumpy Dave's is a pretty cool spot. So come out to Grumpy Dave's and grab a beer. Besides that, I think that's going to wrap everything up. I hope you guys enjoyed the new changes that we made to our podcast. If you have any recommendations, let me know. Like I said, you got my number, and I want to make this as best as I can for you. So I think that wraps it up, guys. Week 2, Friday at 5 o'clock, will be the second podcast of this season. And I'm excited to see what you all bring to the table on Sunday. I'll see you then. Peace.